I've made quite a few videos about my friend group, and yeah, they're cute and have sappy music, but they're short, and none of them really have any meaning to anyone outside of the friend group. So as a final gesture before I graduate, I wanted to tell the story of my friend group and talk about how much they really mean to me. Our story begins with my best friend Ariel. Ariel and I met in the beginning of our junior year of high school. We're seniors now, we're about to graduate, and right away we became really good friends. There was a while where we stopped being friends over some dumb argument, but the first day we hung out again after not being friends was like we never stopped being friends at all. I've never met a person more like myself than Ariel, and she's probably the most important person in my life, and I think that she will probably always be. That's why I wanted to start this whole documentary with her, because she is the beginning. This is Ariel and I's senior year, and yeah, we had friends who followed us from middle school and high school, but towards the middle of this year, we kind of just let everyone go, whether it be our fault or their fault or no one's fault. We just ended up with only each other. Until I met Addie. I'll go more into how much she means to me later when I do everyone's individual parts, but for now, she just means a lot to me. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have found this friend group, and I wouldn't be as happy as I am now. Now, it's time to talk about Oasis. Oasis is a Discord server. It's not just any Discord server, it's a Discord server that my friend Addie invited me to. It's full of countless amazing people who genuinely make me excited to start every day. I was first invited to the Discord server in September of 2019, and from the very beginning, they've all been nothing but nice to me. I had never ever been in a Discord server of any kind before, so it was super confusing and nothing made sense. But one thing I do remember is that everyone's usernames were really funny. I think someone's username was Bongos on a skateboard, and somebody else was Raccoon with a knife, and somebody else was Big Alpha Baby. I remember day one being scared of him because his name was Big Alpha Baby, but now he's the nicest person I've ever met. So that's really ironic to me. To segue on to the next chapter, between third period and fourth period at our school, we have time where we can go outside and hang out. Seniors can go inside, and that's what Ariel and I used to do, until I started hanging outside with Addie's group. Right away, I was extremely interested in this weird, overly excited group of people that I'd never seen in school before. It took me way too long to try and actually talk to any of them in real life, but it did help that Addie would constantly tell me everyone's names over and over again, because I forgot way too much. That whole interaction very, very slowly turned into me becoming a part of the group, and I'm so grateful that I am. I've made countless videos about the group, but I've never really gone into depth about who they are as people, and I feel like this is why I should. Before I really knew anyone in the group, it was just them as a group, but now that I know them, they all have their own little personalities and things, and it's just really amazing to sit back and observe. And I thought it was finally time that I documented it, because they mean a lot to me, and this is the only way I know how to show it. I've already started to list off with Ariel, but Addie is next on our list. She's one of the most complex people I've ever met, and I love it. She's the nicest and constantly fears being a burden, which is funny because she's the exact opposite. Anytime anyone's having a bad day or a bad night, she's there to hit them with all the things people love about them, and is there just to make sure that they have a shoulder to cry or vent on. Her interests show in her personality in the best ways. She is funny and sporadic and very caring. She has a way with words and a tone in her voice that makes everything she says sound sincere. Watching her type on a computer is like watching a professional at work. We met each other in creative writing class, and from the very beginning we worked together well. I genuinely enjoy her company, and I hope she at least doesn't mind mine. And as much as she may reject the idea, she's sort of a leader figure in our group, and I think that most everyone is kind of glad that she is. Just by looking at her, I can tell that she's destined for great things, even if she doesn't yet believe it. Addie is the first on the list because the entirety of my friendship with Oasis is because of her, and I can only hope that I will one day find a way to thank her enough. Next is Miles. Miles is a human version of a greyhound. The most obvious reasons are because he's lanky and active, but more importantly, he was also extremely friendly and affectionate like they are. Even on days when he's clearly upset, he's like a beam of light in the room. He's a complete fool, but also very sweet and compassionate. He gives some of the best hugs in the group because not only is he skinny enough to wrap your arms around, but also because he's not afraid to hold the hug for a long time. He's bouncy, excitable, and enthusiastic. He makes me excited just by association. The first time we hung out outside of school, I was afraid I was trying too hard to become his friend, but apparently if I was, he didn't notice or didn't care because now I consider him one of my best friends. And I'm really glad that he is. I like being around him. He's bubbly and fun to be around. One of the first times I hung out with just him, I had asked him if he'd be a model for my photography project. He told me stories and laughed the whole time. He was hard to photograph, but it was wonderful to listen to, and I got a good picture of him laughing. It's my favorite picture of him. I don't really know why I enjoy him so much, I just do. It's like the Marge Simpson meme where she's like, I just think they're neat. I don't really know why, I just think he's awesome and I love him. I really, really, really hope we're friends into adulthood because I totally want to see what kind of weird adult he becomes, but also just because I want to be his friend forever. Next is Piper. Piper is interesting. She was one of the first of the group that I interacted with in real life, and it was a short interaction, but it meant a lot to me. I forced a scrunchie on her for a joke, and her not negative reaction really made me realize that the group wouldn't hate me. We always joke that being short is her only personality trait, but it really isn't. She's got so many more. She's extremely ambitious. She jokes about being Aaron's manager all the time, but really, if anyone could pull it off, it would be her. She's super caring under her fake, angry and mean exterior shell. She's not afraid to tell you she loves you and that you're appreciated, and I really respect that. Not only does it help me when I'm down, but I've seen it lift up countless others, and I know they're grateful for it. I don't hang out with her nearly as much as I should, but I love her all the same. She's aggressively affectionate, loyal, and just all around fun to be in the presence of. I hope we'll become closer friends before I graduate, because I know having her as a good friend as I'm transitioning into adulthood will really help me. Next is Tristen. Before I became a part of the group, Tristen kind of scared me. The first time I attempted to talk to anyone in the group, Tristen was forcefully trying to erase something Addie had written on herself. But now that I really know him, he's one of my best friends and probably the person I'm least scared of in the group. I didn't really feel like a full part of the group until Tristen invited me to Riverwalk for the first time. It was just me, him, Jason, Miles, and Ariel, but it really made me feel like I was worthy of the group's friendship for once. He once compared me to Abby from Love, Simon, saying Simon didn't know her for long but was still really, really good friends with her. He said that was how he felt about me, and that meant a lot to me then and even more to me now. Him telling me that was super sweet and way more appreciation than I will ever deserve. He's very stone-faced on the outside, but extremely loving and empathetic on the inside. He's able to freely express his feelings when he wants to, but also lets you express yours. Him inviting me to someone else's Halloween party and insisting that I showed up really broke me out of my shell of being afraid to hang out with Oasis. I will forever be indebted to him for that. Next is Orlando. I may be a little biased in talking about him because he's my boyfriend, but ignoring that and only looking from a friend's point of view, he's still incredibly funny and sweet. When I first started talking to the group and first started trying to learn everyone's personalities, he was particularly interesting to watch. His natural state was mumbly, quiet, and kind of desolate, but he'd have random bursts of being as loud, smiley, and energetic as everyone around him. The switch was what made me want to be his friend. Knowing him now, I see a lot more of that energy, and I'm super grateful for it. He has hilarious and interesting stories and can talk for almost as long as me once you get him going. And it's fun to watch him talk. The group picks on him sometimes for being too emotional, but honestly that's one of my favorite things about him. He is extremely passionate in his emotions and even in tune with others. He can read people really well and can always tell when I'm upset. More and more every day he makes me realize that I am worth loving, and I really, really, really hope I'm doing the same for him because he is most definitely worth loving too. Next is Liberty. She doesn't want very many videos of her, so I'm going to try and make this quick. Liberty shows so much personality for someone so quiet. It's nice to see that she's become more comfy and outgoing since I met her. Seeing her genuinely laugh or get excited is wonderful, and I hope that I get to know her better because I absolutely adore the things that I already know. Next is Xander. My first thoughts about Xander before I knew him was that he was too tall and way too interesting to be my friend. I don't know why, but I guess I just thought there was no way he'd ever like me enough to want to be my friend at all. That feeling faded a little after Tristen, Xander, and I started playing video games together, but it was always in the back of my mind. Now, I'd like to consider him one of my best friends. He bullies the hell out of me, but that's how I show him friendship too, so I'm really glad that he does. He does dumb stuff and is generally a danger to himself and others, but if you pay more attention, you'll learn that he's a completely wonderful and lovely person inside and out. One time I was late to a hangout at Tristan's house, and he kept harassing me over text telling me to get there sooner. In his mind, I'm sure they were just waiting for me to get there so they could leave, but it meant a lot to me. It made me feel wanted and valued as a friend, like less of an afterthought and more like a first choice. I really appreciate his ability to jokingly bully me one minute and give me good, solid advice to make me feel better the next. He's a really good friend and an even better person. I hope we continue to be friends for as long as possible because his insults are the only thing that keep me humble, but also because I just really enjoy his friendship. Next is Jason. Jason is interesting. I used to think he didn't consider me a real friend because he never really said much to me about himself, but he has proven time and time again that that is not true, and I really appreciate it. Jason is a really cool person, and he may not show affection or friendship in ways that I'm used to, but I don't have a doubt in my mind that he is my friend and I am his. He may not say much sometimes, but everything he does say is incredibly kind and funny. There's a whole lot I don't know about Jason, but I hope one day I'll learn at least half of the things that make up who he is, because who he is cool, and I want to know how he got there, even if it sucks. Next is Aaron. Aaron was one of the people of the group that I didn't really know until way later, but he's still one of the coolest guys I know. Not only is he extremely funny, but he has the courage to get out there on his own on YouTube. We all called him Aaron Oasis because of his YouTube name, and he once or twice expressed upset over the fact that we no longer called him that. But I think it's because he went from a guy named Aaron Oasis to our friend named Aaron. I hope he likes this new title as much as his old one, and I hope he stays our friend for a long time. Next is Tyler. I don't really know much about Tyler, but I do know that he's extremely friendly. He's been in Oasis for a very short time, but he's only been nice and wonderful to me and everyone else there. Tyler's confidence, as well as his attitude towards us as a friend group, always amazes me, and I really, really hope he continues to be mine and the group's friend for a long time. Next is Damian. I first knew Damian as twitch.tv/mufflet. I only knew him through his Twitch streams in the beginning, but getting to know him in person has been amazing. He's super sweet, funny, and so energetic. Seeing him in the halls every day is a super fun surprise that I always look forward to. One week he filmed a sort of vlog and edited together a cute video of everyone, and it was an absolute honor being a part of it. I'm so glad he included me. I absolutely love all of his streams and videos, and I hope he continues to make them for a very long time. Next is Jacob. I had a class with Jacob last year, and the class was extra good because of him and a few others. When I realized this year that we didn't have any classes, I knew we wouldn't be friends because, like Xander, I didn't think I was cool or funny enough to be his friend, so I just didn't try. When he joined Oasis and started sometimes hanging out with everyone outside, I got excited because he's a really cool guy and I've wanted to be his friend since last year. We hang out and talk a little bit more now because of Oasis, but I really hope we continue because I do consider him my friend and I really hope he considers me his too. Next is Jordan. Jordan is like the nicest person I've ever met. I had a class with him last year and he dealt with me in that class and I was very shocked. When he joined Oasis, I knew right away that everyone would love him and that he would love everyone, and I was right. He's incredibly sweet and loving and just an all-around amazing dude. I'm really, really glad he joined the group. I can tell it's been good for him and good for everyone else too. Next is Ryan. Ryan is kind of quiet, and for a while we didn't really talk outside of me jokingly bullying him, but now we definitely talk more, and I'm very glad that we do. He's super sweet and kind of loud and outgoing when you get to know him. He's a really cool person, and I'm happy I can finally say that we're friends, and I hope we are for a very long time. Next is Gabby. I haven't really ever talked to Gabby that much, but I still know she's really cool. Her stories and chaotic energy mixed with her mysterious aura make her seem super interesting, which is fine because she is. She's super active and sprightly, and I want to talk to her more. She's a cool person and someone I'd be glad to call my friend. Next is Joey. I met Joey last year, and I've been annoying him ever since. I forced him to sit next to me in digital imaging, and I made fun of his stuff all the time. I don't know how he put it up with me, but I'm really glad that he did, because our little ritual of punching each other every time we see one another always brightens my day, even when I'm sad. I'm really glad we're friends, and I hope I still get to punch him in the distant future. Next is Angel. I've only ever talked to Angel once or twice in real life, but those few times were enough for me to know that he's a really cool and chill dude. We played video games with Tristen for a while, and I hope we do more in the future, even though he and Tristen are both way better than me, because he's really fun to talk to and really fun to hang out with. Next is Dom. Dom is incredibly sweet. He cares about his friends a whole lot, and he's not afraid to show it. His interests show in his personality, and it's so fun to hear him talk about them. He's cool to hang around, and he always has memes to show you. He may have some beef with people, but I still consider him a good friend and a really cool guy. Next is Hunter P. Hunter is a wonderful human. He's super sweet, super funny, and just all around really fun to be around. His dancing is truly amazing, and he always gathers a crowd of us. He really brightens everyone's day, and I'm really glad that he does. I hope I get to know him more in the future, because he's really an interesting person with a wonderful and bubbly personality. Next is Ryan. I haven't known Ryan for a very long time, and sometimes he can be a pest, like when he kills me in Minecraft, but other than that, he's a really cool and funny guy. I'm glad I got over my Minecraft death and got to know him better, because he can be really sweet, and he's also a really nice friend. Next is Greg. Greg is really amusing. He makes great jokes and even better art. We don't talk much, but when we do, it's always pleasant. I can't wait to see his art take off, and I hope he knows he deserves it. Next is Jake. Jake is very fun. The few times we've talked, it's always been hilarious and interesting. He definitely has the personality of a theater kid, but that's not a bad thing, because he's very expressive and animated and also very nice. I hope I get to have more talks with him in the future, because we always seem to make each other laugh really hard. Last, for no particular reason, is Hunter D. I know probably the least about Hunter, and frankly sometimes he scares me, but other times I see behind his ominous and mysterious exterior, and I see that he's a really nice and cool guy. His shenanigans always make me laugh, and I'm grateful for it. I hope he knows that, and I hope we become better friends in the future. Before we end this, I wanted to go back to Ariel for a proper section in the documentary. I love Ariel. She's my best friend. I see her literally every day except Sunday because of school and our Saturday volunteering at PetSmart, and I love it. She's my best friend, and I know that she always will be, even after we graduate in a few months. We're going to be in our 70s and still yelling at each other, and I can't wait for it. And with that final word, our documentary ends. This took forever to make, and finding good background music is going to be a pain in the ass, but I'm really glad that I made it. Some people's sections were shorter because I don't know them as well, but I've always felt like everyone in Oasis should be in my video, and now they finally are. To people outside of Oasis, they may just look like a few juniors, some freshmen, and a big group of stinky sophomores, and yeah, that's what they are, but I still love them. I've never really had a friend group until them, and I've never met a group of people as interesting, amazing, and loving as they are. They make me feel like the world is good. I am extremely grateful for them, and so glad that they accepted Ariel and I as quickly and as much as they did. I love them, all of them. Thank you, Oasis, and thank you everyone in the video. You guys gave me a reason to happy cry instead of sad cry, and I'll never be able to repay any of you for that, no matter how hard I try.
Don't eat the bait. Don't have it. Eat it.